Hello, hello, my brothers and sisters. This is Garrett Bake, your brother in arms, and welcome to another episode of Awaken the Guardian. For more information on what this movement is all about, go to warriorguardian.com. If you would like to go to awakentheguardian.com, it's not quite set up yet, but hopefully by the time this is deployed, it will be. We'll have a free resource guide for you, something to provide you with a little bit of value in your life. All right, let's get after it. So, today's topic is addiction. Dun, dun, dun. Something that most people don't like to talk about. But that's okay, because I'm going to talk about it. So, here we go. We are all addicts. Bet you didn't think you were going to hear that one. Let me explain what I mean. There was a night when I was working patrol as a police officer, and I probably had 5 years on. I remember going to this call. It was what's called a non-breather call, meaning that pretty self-explanatory. Somebody was not breathing. Now, most of these calls had to do with older people who, it was just their time, and they'd passed away. But some of these calls had to do with like early 20s, young adults. As you can tell, it was usually not related to a health concern, but usually to drugs. Now, this particular night, I remember going and, excuse me, we didn't have many details on what was going on. So we're driving, my partner and I, we get there, we show up, we go inside, and there's this kid, and he must have been no older than, 22. And there's a girl that's standing over him, frantically crying, screaming, yelling. And I reach down, I put my fingers to his neck, check for a pulse. There's no pulse. I'm like, well, I don't know what's going on. I'm trying to figure out from her what's going on. She's like, I don't know what happened. And she's yelling and screaming. And so we start to perform compressions on him, chest compressions, right? CPR. And the fire department shows up. And the fire department immediately does their little thing. And we're talking to this girl who was ended up being his girlfriend. And I'm like, what happened? Does he have any medical conditions? And I'm going through this whole thing. And one of the questions that I ask is he a drug user? And she's like, he's not supposed to be. He told me he quit. And she's going on and on. Okay, I was like, what kind of drugs did he use? And she says it was heroin. So the fire department hears this. They immediately grab a syringe full of something called Narcan. Now, I'm not a doctor or anything like that, and I don't understand exactly how it works, but they grab this Narcan and they proceed to uncap it and literally stab this man in the heart with this syringe of Narcan. And I cannot even tell you, it must have been 3 seconds. The dude, all of a sudden, eyes opened, snapped, jumped up, and started screaming. And like I froze because I didn't know what just happened. Like it shocked me. This man was dead, like no pulse, wasn't breathing. And all of a sudden he was alive, awake, screaming, and started to fight us. Like he was mad at us. Think about this for a minute. He was mad at us because we had taken him out of his high. We had robbed him of his experience. And like I was confused. I didn't understand it. I'm like, what is going on with this guy? And we had to strap him down to the stretcher to get him to the hospital so he could go detox. Like all over what? All over heroin, a drug. He was an addict. He was chasing the next high. Another story. Coworker of mine, great man, hardworking cop, family man, but he had an addiction. He had an addiction to pornography. Like so much so that it had taken over his life. He would sit in his car and instead of going out and actually taking calls like he was supposed to, he would just sit there and watch porn. Like that was his thing. He would do that. And I would look him up on the on our little computer screen to figure out where he was. And I'd go up, pull up next to him, and I'd see him straighten up, and I'd see him drop the phone. I'm like, dude, what are you doing? Nothing. I'm like, really? Nothing? Like he was just addicted to it. He just could not get the next high. He was always chasing the next high. I had another coworker. This coworker had a gambling addiction. Now, mind you, as a police officer, you get paid pretty good money. Like, you don't lack money. You don't lack resources. You can buy a house, a nice car. You have plenty to eat. Like, your life is good. But he had a gambling addiction. And I didn't know this until one night when he asked me, hey, you want to go out? I'm like, yeah, sure. Where are we going? He's like, oh, just meet me over here. And so we meet at this place. I jump in his car and we drive down to the casino. And I'm like, what are we doing at the casino? Oh, man, we're just going to have a good time. I'm like, cool, whatever. Like, I've gone to the casino a few times. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with going to the casino. But when we walk in, it seemed like everybody who worked there knew his name. Everybody. The servers, the people behind the money vault, the dealers, like everybody knew his name. He sat down at a table. I sat down next to him. The server came over with his drink, like she knew exactly what he wanted. The dealer was like, hey, man, what's going on? They're having a conversation about lives and things. And I'm scratching my head going, is this the same guy that I work with? Like, what is going on here? And I proceeded to watch him over the space of 4 hours drop, I think it was $3,000. He lost $3,000 in 4 hours. He was addicted to gambling. See, here's the thing. We are all addicts. Every single one of us, you and I. And I've talked about mine. Hell, I'll talk about them again. I didn't just have one addiction. I had multiple addictions. I was addicted to pornography. I was addicted to prescription drugs. I was addicted to working out so hard that I would destroy my body. I went through a period of time where I was addicted to drinking. I went through a period of time where I was addicted to other women. Like, if you name the addiction other than hard drugs, odds are I was probably addicted to it at one point. Like, I remember going to Vegas and like just sitting there and just like I could not get enough. So more money and more money and more money. I've been addicted to video games. Like, there's periods of time in my life where I would come home after working 12 to 14 hours and it's 2 o'clock in the morning and I would go straight to, nope, not bed. I would go straight to my couch, turn on my Xbox, and I would play Call of Duty. I was addicted. The question is, why? Why was I addicted? Why are you addicted? Why were my coworkers addicted? Why was the drug addict addicted? There's a reason behind this. Before we get to that reason, I want to talk about something. A cycle, right? In police work, we call it the cycle of violence. Now, the cycle of violence, let me explain it to you how it works. Usually, it's a female, either a girlfriend, a wife, or significant other, that is living with or in a relationship with a man. And this female does something that pisses this man off. It could be something as simple as not taking the trash out, not cooking dinner, not doing something with the kids. Like, it doesn't have to be anything complicated, or it could be big. Doesn't matter. This man gets angry. This man snaps. This man hits, beats, punches, kicks, stabs, does something to this female to hurt her. This female is traumatized. She's crying. She's screaming. She doesn't know what's going on. She calls for help. We show up. We see what happened. She's got a black eye. She's crying. The dishes are broken. There's a hole in the wall. Like, it's obvious what happened. So we arrest this man. We take him to jail. In his initial appearance the next morning, guess who is there pleading with the judge to let him go? It's the same female. The same female with the black eye that's now turned purple and green. The same female who the night before says she was going to get an order of protection and never wanted to see this man ever again. The same female is there begging and pleading for the judge to let him go, saying that she no longer wants to press charges. Now, did this man coerce her into this? Well, no, he wasn't there. So why is she there begging the judge to release him? Like, this isn't a joke. Like, I've actually seen this happen. I have been in court and watched this happen. Officer, what did you see? Well, I arrived on scene. I could see that the front window was broken out. I went inside. The woman was on the ground crying and screaming. She had blood coming from her lips. She told me that Johnny had hit her. Johnny had left the scene. We found him down the road. We arrested him. He admitted to it. Okay. So they call up the victim. What happened? Oh, I slipped and fell. You what? I slipped and fell. Didn't you tell the officer that this was happened? Yeah, but that wasn't the truth. I fell. That's what happened. How did the window get broken? I don't know. Like, literally, without even being prompted, this woman would lie, blatantly lie to try and get her boyfriend, husband, significant other released. Now, I know what you're thinking. I know you're like, who the hell would do that? I would never do that. If somebody ever hit me, if a man ever hit me, I'd take him to jail. I'd never see him again. I'd take all he had. Or a man, I would never hit a woman. Like, you guys say this, but until you're involved in it, like, you don't understand it. See, because this woman in this situation and plenty of other situations similar to it is an addict. You know what they're addicted to? They're addicted to being a victim. Think about that for a minute. The physical pain and mental trauma that comes from being a victim, they're addicted to it. And you know exactly what I'm talking about because you all have that friend. Man or woman, doesn't matter. They're always talking about what? They're always talking about the drama in their lives. They're always talking about what's not working. They're always talking about what's wrong. They're addicted. In this case, the woman was addicted to the violence. Like, she didn't know how to live her life anymore without being physically or mentally abused. And so you wonder why these women keep getting hit, assaulted, the man gets arrested, she wants him back, he gets out, and they're right back together. And the cycle just continues over and over and over and over again. Like, why is it that happens? Or that this happens? See, what we're addicted to, both you and I, the woman in this example, the drug addict, my coworkers, like, it doesn't matter. We are all addicted to something. We're addicted to patterns. There are patterns in our life that we just cannot get rid of. There are patterns in our life that control us. You don't think it's true? Think about this. What's your pattern in the morning? Odds are that you get up with an alarm clock. Some of you immediately get out of bed and hit the day running. Some of you hit the snooze button once. Some of you hit it 16 times. Some of you never make it to work on time. Some of you never make it out of your PJs. Some of you have to stop by Starbucks every single morning. Some of you have to take a 2-hour lunch. Some of you have to scroll through Facebook. Some of you have to talk to your mother every day. Some of you have to go to the gym. Some of you have to eat Doritos. Some of you have to pray to God. These are patterns in your life. So ask yourself, in your life, what is it that you're addicted to? Are you addicted to comfort? The comfort that comes with having a home. Regardless of how your spouse treats you, you're addicted to the comfort that comes with a home. Are you addicted to pain? Like there's some of you that I know that you have back problems, you have knee problems, or you have elbow problems, or you have some kind of problem that you know you could go take care of and fix, but you're so addicted to the pain and the pity that comes with it that you're unwilling to do that. Are you addicted to hurt? Are you literally that person that's stuck not necessarily in a cycle of violence, but you're always getting hurt by someone? There's always someone taking advantage of you. And your life revolves around letting everyone know that. Joey took advantage of me again today. The man at the supermarket took advantage of me. My waitress didn't get my order right. Like on and on and on with this addiction to hurt. Are you addicted to being alone? Like you've given up on connection with your wife and your kids. You've given up on connection with God. You've given up on connection with your body. And so you just prefer to be alone. And that's what you tell everyone. I just like my alone time. I just prefer to be alone. Robbing yourself of the opportunity for connection because of your addiction. Are you addicted to playing small? Meaning that you have this potential inside of you, like you can see it inside your mind what it is that you're capable of. Running your own business, becoming the CEO, starting this online thing, becoming a world-class athlete, making $1 million this year, having the connection and purpose that you've always wanted with your wife and your kids. Like you see this as a distinct possibility. But then you also see the work that's involved with becoming that person, becoming that man. And you're like, nah. Like I'm good. I'm good right here where I'm at. I'm good. Even though you know you're not good, this is where you're comfortable. You're addicted to playing small. So the question I have for you is, what is it that you're addicted to? See, for the longest time in my relationship, this is what I was addicted to. I was addicted to finding someone to blame for what was going on in my life, for what wasn't going right. And this pattern came from work. This addiction came from work, right? There was a crime that was committed. Obviously, somebody committed that crime. I would find the finger to point. He did it. And then I would prove why he did it. And I'd get a fist bump and a high five. Person would go to jail. I got addicted. And then I would go home and I would point the finger at my wife for things that weren't going right. Or I would point the finger at my kids for things that weren't going right. I'm not having sex because of my wife. It's her fault. And here's why. because she's lazy, she's selfish, and all she ever thinks about is herself. She doesn't ever think about me or my feelings. I don't have a connection with my oldest son because he doesn't play sports. I don't have any money in my bank account because my wife doesn't know how to manage it. Like, I would always find someone else to blame for the things that weren't happening in my life. I was addicted to this. And they say you'll always find what you're looking for, right? So I would go search for people or situations or things that would put their arm around me and be like, it's okay, you're right. It is her fault. It is your son's fault. It is the doctor's fault. It is your boss's fault. It's always somebody else's fault. And so I was addicted to find these people in my life. And so I started to surround myself with people that would encourage my addiction. Why do you think that drug dealers hang out together? Drug users. Why do you think that drug users hang out together? It's not because they want to share the drugs. It's because they want to surround themselves with people who will back up their addictions. Think about this. We surround ourselves with people who have the same addiction patterns that we do. Ask yourself in your life, who are you surrounding yourself with? Who is it? Is it people that are addicted to your same pity party? Is it people who are addicted to pain? Is it people who are addicted to complaining and bitching and moaning about their spouse? Is it people who are addicted to video games? You're always going to find what it is that you're looking for. So here's the thing, right? We're all addicts. You're never going to stop being an addict. The biggest lie that AA and NA, if you don't know what that is, it's Alcoholics Anonymous and Narcotics Anonymous. I don't know if there's one for Porn Anonymous, whatever. The biggest lie that they ever tell these people is that they can overcome their addiction. That's a lie. They will never overcome their addiction. Why? Because we are all addicts. We are all addicts. It doesn't matter if it's drinking, it's drugs, it's porn, it's other women, it's Xbox. It does not matter. We are all addicts. Now, that's not always a bad thing. I want you to consider that if you are an addict, if you are addicted to patterns, is it not possible then to change your addiction to a new set of patterns? Is it not possible to, instead of being addicted to something negative, to be addicted to something positive? Does that exist? Well, let's examine that. Let's look at my life. For the longest time, I was addicted to just being average with my body. That was it. I told myself, this is who I am. I can run, but I can't swim. And I can't bike. I can just run. So I got addicted to what? To running. My body would hurt. It would start to break down. I would blame something or someone else. It's my body. It's not the running that I was doing, the wear and tear. But then I realized that, listen, I can get addicted to something more than just running. And all of a sudden, this thing that I didn't think was possible, which was swimming, became a reality for me. This thing that I didn't really think that I was interested in, biking, became a reality for me. I got addicted to something better. For the longest time, I lost my connection with God. I didn't think that God listened to me. I didn't think that God cared. I didn't think that God heard a word that I said. I just thought I was here on my own. And so I got addicted to what? To giving God the middle finger and saying, I'm going to do this on my own. How did that work out for me? Well, it really didn't. And after a period of time, I realized that what I was missing was a connection with God. And so instead of being addicted to running from God, I became addicted to finding God in my life. Now, I'm not here to tell you to believe in God, but what I'm here to tell you is that there is a higher being. Whatever you want to call it, there's a higher being. And I got addicted to figuring out how this higher being, this voice, this spirit, this God was talking to me and communicating with me and guiding me in my life. Feeding off how I was earlier. I was addicted to finding fault in my wife. I was addicted to finding fault in my kids as to why things weren't working. Why I was always yelling and screaming at them. Why I wasn't getting enough sex. Why it felt like no matter how hard I tried, nobody was listening to me. And instead, I became addicted to connection. I became addicted to doing things that my kids wanted to do instead of what I wanted to do. Guess what? My oldest doesn't like to play sports. You know what he likes? He likes video games. So I became addicted, not to video games, but to spending time with him in the environment that he wanted to spend it in. I became addicted to dating my wife. Instead of finding fault with her and finding reasons to run from her or spend time away from her, I became addicted to spending time with her. I used to be addicted to spending money on whatever, on anything that I wanted to. And I had to become addicted to, instead of spending money, focusing on making money and keeping money. So consider in your life that you're an addict. We all are. But what is it that you're addicted to? Like, examine it across your relationship with your body, your relationship with God or this higher being, your relationship with your family, and your relationship with money. What is it that you're addicted to? Consider that maybe not all of your addictions are good, but that they can be if you choose to focus on them. So what are the facts about your addictions? How does that make you feel? How does it make you feel that you're addicted to eating Cheetos and cake? How does it make you feel that you can't connect with your wife and you'd rather go to the gym and work out? Okay. So now that you've become real about your addictions and raw about how it makes you feel, let's make it relevant. Like, what is your new addiction or your new focus going to be? Is it going to be a daily walk in the morning with your wife? Is it going to be a routine of a green smoothie? Is it going to be a routine of putting $50 away in a savings account daily? Like, what is it? You're going to have an addiction. It's just you get to choose what that addiction is. Because at the end of this game, your addiction will bear fruit. Positive or negative, your addiction will bear fruit. If you become addicted to alcohol, guess what? Eventually, your liver is going to die. And you are too. If you become addicted to smoking, same thing. If you become addicted to eating healthy, what will happen to your body? If you become addicted to connection with your wife and your kids, what will happen to the relationship? So consider that we are all addicts. And consider that even though we are all addicts, we get to choose our addictions. You're going to be addicted to something. You may as well pick something good, something that benefits you. All right, my brothers and sisters, that is it. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for listening in today. For more information, go to warriorguardian.com. See what we got going on over there. Or awakentheguardian.com. We're going to have a guidebook down there for you to help you when it comes to this concept of protecting what matters most to you. One more thing, as always, remember, aware today, alive tomorrow. We'll see you on the next one.